The soldiers of Milan. The soldiers of Allegri. The soldiers which have Milan sat top of the Serie A. Example number one. Example number two. Now, I haven't just put up these photos for decoration. No, I'm trying to show you guys compactness. I'm trying to show you guys how Allegri, in my opinion, is like the modern day Daenerys. Yeah, and if you guys watch Game of Thrones, Daenerys. And he's walked in and recruited the Unsullied. Tomori, Pavlovic, and Gabbia. Do you guys know what Unsullied means? Never mind. If you watch Game of Thrones, you know what I mean. Anyways, my point is, in this video, I want to talk about why Milan have the second most clean sheets in the Serie A and why they've conceded the least amount of expected goals and why Milan have conceded 9 goals in the Serie A so far this season. If we break them down and just keep thinking compactness, just keep thinking 5-3-2 shape of the ball, just keep thinking that, okay? Milan, this season, they've conceded 2 goals from the penalty spot. So how much are we left with? 7 goals. They've conceded 1 goal from outside of the box. If I remember correctly, it was a goal against Parma. They've conceded only 2 goals centrally, where let's say they were carved open, okay? One of them, I believe, was against Pizza, and I think the other one was against Atalanta, the Ademola Lookman. And then they've conceded 4 goals from out wide, where we're talking crosses are coming into the box. For example, the 2 crosses that came from Estupinian's end. Now, think compactness. Think 9 goals conceded, and that compact structure in the center of the field has only really been exposed twice. Like, it's there. 2 penalties, 1 from outside the box, 2 from central areas, and 4 from out wide. So, in this video, I just want to break down to you guys why, in my opinion, in football, I hate terms like parking the bus. I hate terms like defensive football. I hate terms like pragmatism. This coach is pragmatic. This coach just goes out there to defend and score on the counter. I want to just break down to you guys like why that isn't really the case. So let's start off firstly with PPDA 17.27. Now, I made a video about this about a month ago explaining what passes per defensive action means, but it basically indicates how many passes do the opposition get to pass around before a defensive action is taken. And it usually indicates if, for example, if a PPDA is mega low, like for example, Milan 17.26, Como, says Fabregas's Como, PPDA 6.25. What does that indicate? It indicates Fabregas doesn't want his team to allow the opposition to pass the ball in and around themselves. No, he wants them to get the ball as quick as possible. What does that mean? It means Como are a pressing team. Milan are not a pressing team. Hence, they're ranked 20th in the Serie A for PPDA. Now, a lot of people that sit down and watch the game and they're sat scrolling on their phone. They're not looking at the team shapes. They're not looking at the structures. They're not looking at how they transition in and out of possession, in and out of shape. They're thinking, this is just defensive football. It's defensive football. The PPDA 17.27. It means Milan just sit back and invite pressure. No. Because there's a lot of teams across the world where in moments they have to sit back and invite pressure. They have to sit back and try and contain a 1-0 lead. But for some reason, these dudes in the black and red kit, they just keep doing it game after game after game, but they keep getting clean sheet after clean sheet after clean sheet. No matter who you throw at them, Bologna, Juve, Roma, Inter, no matter who you throw at them, they get the clean sheet with a very, very, very high PPDA. Let's talk about the soldiers, and then I'll break down to you guys why this happens. No, you know what? Let's first talk about the compactness. You guys can see from these 2 photos. The reason why their PPDA is so high is because 1, they don't press, but 2, they're very, very, very disciplined. Yeah, like the Unsullied. They were so disciplined, bro. Are you mad? If any of the Unsullied stepped out of line, Dracarys, and then we're not here to talk about Game of Thrones. My point is, they're very, very, very disciplined. And if there is one word for me to describe Allegri's Milan this season, as much as we can say they are very efficient because they actually have one of the highest conversions in the Serie A, which means when they do create opportunities, 8 times out of 10, they put the ball into the back of the net. Yeah, funnily enough, this is whilst having no Step Santi Jimenez, who's missed the most big chances in the Serie A. They're very, very, very disciplined. And why it's impressive, when you look at some of these two, like when you look at these photos against Inter, you could see nobody steps out of line, whether it's a centre back, a wing back, a midfielder, a striker. Nobody steps out of line. Nobody tries to be the hero. Nobody says, you know what, scrap the team shape, I'm going to go and apply pressure. No, because I've said this so many times before across all of the teams that I cover. Pressing is only as good as your structure. If your press isn't structured, you benefit a lot more by just sitting back and maintaining structure. Allegri has disciplined the life out of these guys. None of them step out of line. Every single one of them knows their territory, and every single one of them defends their territory. So when we say compactness, we also have to say disciplined, okay? But now, let's look at the soldiers. Who shall we start off with? Let's start off with Gabbia, okay? Because I'm going to be real with you guys. When you play a back three system, and like I mentioned this across so many of the teams that I cover in the Serie A, the central piece of a back three has to be your best defender, okay? The two wide centre backs don't have to be your best defenders. Don't get me wrong, they have to be good defenders. But I'm saying my point is the two wide centre backs are what I like to call in the back three the more drifter centre backs, because they have more license to step forward. Ding, 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 ding. When you look at Pavlovic, how many times does he go forwards? I promise you guys, if Pavlovic was the centre-back playing in the centre of the three, you would not see him bombing forward. He can't do it. It's not allowed. It doesn't happen in football. Of course, unless you do what like Gasperini does with like Mancini at Roma at the moment, where it's like he makes Mancini, his central centre-back, step into the middle, and then the two wide ones tuck inside. Allegri doesn't do that. No. My wide centre-backs are my drifters. Pavlovic, he's getting goals. He's getting involved in the final third. He's carrying the ball. Tomori. How many times have we seen Tomori down the right-hand side, overlapping, underlapping Salamakers to create opportunities? Just like the goal that we saw the other day against Lazio. They are the two wide centre-backs. They are the drifters. Gabbia playing in the centre. You basically have to be like the conductor. Like, you basically have to be the mature head. You basically have to be the leader, the guy that tells Tomori, go now. But Tomori, no. I want you to sit, because I can sense some danger coming our way. Tomori, I can see the fullback. He's bombing forwards. I need you to sit with me. Pavlovic, you can go. The central piece has to be your best defender. He has to be your best communicator. And he basically has to be, like, in a sense, your captain, because he's the guy that's now instructing players. I feel like I'm talking too much. Let's talk about Gabbia. Now, this is where it might get complicated. And if it does, I really do apologize, okay? Because I'm going to start talking to you guys about percentiles, okay? Basically, in summary, so you guys like roughly understand, these numbers indicate the percentile, so as in how they're better than players across the world in their position. So, for example, if Rafa Leao, when it comes to shots on goal, has got a 99 percentile, it means when it comes to shots on goal, he's performing 99% better than players in that position. So, basically, the higher the number, the better you look, okay? When we look at Gabbia, okay, for example, passes blocked. As the central piece, passes blocked, he's in the 89th percentile, which means he's doing better than 89% of centre-backs across the world when it comes to blocking passes, okay? When it comes to challenges lost, he's in the 99th percentile, which basically tells you this dude doesn't lose challenges. He's up there. He's up there in the percentile when it comes to challenges lost, okay? Then you've got errors, okay? Once again, 80 in the 85th percentile. That tells you once again, he doesn't make many errors. Hence, he doesn't lose many challenges, okay? Then, if we were just to look at tackles, just sheer tackles, 94th percentile. Brother, 94th percentile. Like, even though it's not 99, as a centre-back, like me personally, I think any defender that's giving you 85 plus in any one of these categories is doing a very good job. The fact that this dude is 94 when it comes to tackles, it tells you, if you guys do get through the middle, if you guys do come face to face with me, 9 times out of 10, I'm sticking my foot in the right area at the right time, and I'm winning the ball back for Milan, for my soldiers. You know what I mean? And then just like overall pass accuracy, he's got a 91% pass accuracy. Milan don't really make that many errors when playing out of the back. So this is Gabbia, and I'm gonna be real with you guys. The numbers are really good. There's also some extra stats that I'll mention towards the end. Let's go to Pavlovic, okay? And you know what it is? When you look at some of these numbers, you're going to begin to understand how these players are all so different, but they all complement each other in a different way, okay? Pavlovic, passes blocked, he's in the 78th percentile, okay? Now, I mainly believe it's because when you watch Serie A games or when you watch games in general, because of how compact Milan are centrally, a lot of teams don't want to play down the center. So if anything, I don't want to discredit Gabbia and say that his number is mega, mega, mega high for passes blocked because he's not tested. No, he is, but he's not as tested as a Pavlovic, because a lot of teams don't play centrally against Milan. They play out wide into the channels. Now, of course, if the number of attempts increases, your success rate will tend to drop, okay? 78 percentile. That's very, very, very impressive when you bear in mind he's been challenged far more. More passes have gone down his end because teams want to play out wide into the wings than, for example, centrally. You get what I mean? Or am I like overcomplicating it for you guys? He's in the 78th percentile. When it comes to challenges lost, 35th percentile. So it means he's outperforming 35%. It's not great, but once again, when you apply some context, you could see he faces the fast wingers, the tricky wide players. A lot of strikers nowadays, they drift out wide. Once again, he's basically been challenged far more out wide than, for example, somebody Gabbia in the center, where now he's got Pavlovic to his left and Tomori to his right. And that's why you need to also always get the correct profiles. When you look at Pavlovic and you look at Tomori, what do both of them have in common, which Gabbia, let's just say, lacks? Physicality. And what I mean by physicality, I mean like running power, acceleration, speed. Gabbia isn't the fastest, but Pavlovic is pretty fast. Tomori is pretty fast. Hence, you put them out wide to occupy the wingers, to occupy the wide plays. It's all beginning to make sense. Okay? Then tackles, 96th percentile. That's ridiculously good. That is very, very, very good. And then the pass accuracy, 89%. But like I said, he is, after Tomori, he is the most progressive centre-back under Allegri. So it means he's a bit more risky with his passes. Hence, the number drops off to 89. Then you've got Tomori, who, in my opinion, I think, like, Gabbia has been great, Pavlovic has been great, but Tomori is just my type of centre-back. I think Tomori's been amazing this season. Now, if you look at passes blocked, 86th percentile. Far higher than Pavlovic, because this is where Pavlovic was struggling. But I just feel like Tomori's reading of the game is just far, far, far better. But at the same time, I'm going to be fair, apply context. I do think a lot of teams attack Milan down the left-hand side. Like, for example, when Estupinian was getting ragdolled. I can't remember the game, but where like he got phased out and they scored. My point is, a lot of teams attack Milan down their left-hand side than their right-hand side. But Tomori in the 86th percentile for passes blocked. Errors, 82nd percentile. Pass accuracy, 91%. Tackles, 99th percentile. Brother, do you know what that means? Like, trust me, I think you guys are now beginning to get the gist of it, yeah? Do you know what 99 means when it comes to tackles? It means you will not get past me. You will not get past me, yeah? That's ridiculous. And it's like I said at the beginning, the reason why he can block more passes than a Pavlovic, and then it now, like, it's intertwined with the fact that he's in the 99th percentile for tackles. It's just his reading of the game. I think his reading, his anticipation, his overall understanding of the game tomorrow, I think it's amazing. I genuinely think it's amazing. Like, when you just watch him, his positioning, how he occupies himself, the way he aligns his body, I love it. Like, I genuinely, it sounds crazy to say I love to watch a centre-back, but I love watching somebody like Tomori. And then when it comes to challenges lost, very similar to Pavlovic, the players out wide tend to get more tested, okay? He's in the 52nd percentile. These are good numbers, guys. So you see, next time your friend, your cousin, your auntie turns around and says to you, Milan, pragmatism, Allegri ball, send them this video, but at the same time, make sure to tell them to like and subscribe, okay? And then finally, these are like just some like extra pieces of information that I got. When you look at their overall numbers this season in the Serie A, who ranks interceptions? Tomori, hence good reading of the game, good anticipation. Who's the best when it comes to aerial duels? Gabbia. And who's the best when it comes to like the ground physical duels? Pavlovic. All three of these things you need as part of your defense. You need players that can intercept, you need players that can win aerial, and you need players that can win ground duels. And because of that, ladies and gentlemen, Milan sit top of the Serie A. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. Catch you on another one.